everyone, welcome back to the channel. Alright, so we have a third installment for this little race comparison dealie that I've been doing. We're back at Scotland, the Muckle Yin, and we are racing this for the third time, this time on a set of DT Swiss discs. Because, you know, I've got nothing else better to do. So you can see there on the 21st I rode same frame but with the Roval Alpinist. On the 23rd rode it with the SES 7.8s, and then on the 25th rode it with the discs. So we joined the action and we're about 3.5 minutes into this. So we can see the different rides side by side. I've synced the times up so they're pretty spot on, and yeah, we're sort of what, 2.5 Ks, 2.6 Ks into this, and it didn't get any easier. I just want to say, the race didn't get any easier. It was definitely a smaller group on the 25th. I think there were only about 45 odd people that had joined up. I think on the 23rd there was something like 80, 85. And then on the 21st, which was one of the first races that came out for that course, so I was over 100, 110, something like that. So, yeah, so certainly, as I mentioned in the earlier video, the race on the 21st was harder. And given that there's a bit of climbing in this, not a huge amount, but a bit of climbing, I thought that the Rovals might be the better option. Turns out, no. I was in the second race on the 23rd. I was going to go with the Scott Addict with the NV 7.8s. Don't have enough drops for the Scott, so stuck with the same frame. Just changed to the NVs and did a lot better, which was pretty great. And then reading more about and talking to a few people about how much more aero you can do in this race, given how lumpy it is with the Sgurr climbs in the middle, the north and south. Ended up going and trying the discs. So you can see there from the times and the distances that the hit out on the 21st was much faster. So we're 3.9 Ks into this. On the 23rd for the same time we're only 3.8, and for the 25th we're sort of 3.7. So certainly slower on the 25th. Now, like with all my races, I will do the absolute bare minimum on the front. So I'm really sorry to anyone that's a bit of a purist and they love pushing the front. Not me. I'm going to sit mid-pack the entire way for as much as we can. Now, it was interesting though, because we did have a second peloton about 8-10 seconds behind us. And it did seem like there were a few riders in that group, and they were picking up on us. But eventually, though, I think there maybe only have been a couple of leaders in that group who were pushing the pace, and they eventually dropped off. But I did for a minute there think, oh, perhaps we should do a turn or two on the front just to keep the pace up. But then I thought better of it. So yeah, the 25th was certainly a slower race. There's no question there. There weren't too many guys on the front there that really wanted to kick the pace up. So happy just to sit in. Now, like with race 2 and race 3 on the 23rd and the 25th, I didn't do a lot of sort of a warm-up. On the 21st, I did. I typically do something around 15-20 minutes of a warm-up before I jump into a race. The 23rd, I had a bit of a technical glitch, and I couldn't connect to my trainer, so I got very little sort of warm-up work done, about maybe 3, 4, 5 minutes. And the 25th, I had started the warm-up, and usually what I do is I jump into the pen first, get placement, then jump out of Zwift, like kill Zwift off, restart it, and then go and do a warm-up. So it kind of reserves your spot in the pen. You can go and do a warm-up, and then when you're ready, you join the pen at the spot you joined 30 minutes ago. I forgot to do that. And so I thought for a moment that I'm going to end up at the back of the pen, and I'm going to have to fight through a whole bunch of riders to get to the front. So I end up cutting my warm-up on the 25th again to about 5 or 6 minutes, and then jumped in the pen with about, you know, something like 8-9 minutes to go. So I was trying to keep the legs turning over whilst I was waiting in the pen there. And so you can kind of see that that difference in terms of the heart rate. Like my heart rate on the 25th is sitting at 150, 151 beats per minute. You can see by comparison on the 21st, my heart rate's sitting at 170, and on the 23rd, I'm sitting at 160. So that was interesting to watch that. Clearly, whether the discs were helping, you know, keeping the pace up, and I didn't have to go as hard, or feel like I was going as hard. The power is reasonably the same. It fluctuates depending on, you know, whether we're hitting a little pinch or not, but certainly the heart rate didn't feel like I was really, you know, having to dig too hard. And that, again, that could be the size of the group, and that's always a hard thing when you do like these comparison videos, having to try and get similar groups. It's not going to be possible. You're going to get faster groups depending on the day, the time. You're going to get a different outcome in the races. So that is what it is, and hey, this is just a bit of fun. So, but yeah, no, the race on the 25th certainly felt easier. And again, you can kind of get that sense. I mean, I'm 500 meters behind where I was at the same time on the 21st, and 300 meters idle, or 250 meters behind where I was on the 23rd. So we aren't smacking it, that's for sure. And the group, I think, on the 25th, look, you can probably see it there. We're about 15, 16 riders. So again, not a big group, and I'm not doing anything on the front. So the pace of the group is at the behest of other riders, not me. So, but I did go back and relook again at the first two races, and had a bit of a made some course notes for the two climbs, just to, you know, to get used to having to see how long each climb was going to be. And so I made some rough notes that the north side, obviously it's a longer drag up. That's about something over 4 minutes, so 4 minutes something, 4 minutes 10, 4 minutes 15, something like that. And the south side, which is much shorter, that's only like a 900 meter climb, is around just over 2 minutes, so like 2 minutes 10, 2 minutes 15. So I was talking to John Emerson, who I was racing with in race 2, the 23rd of Feb, and you can see him just there in the aero kit and the yellow Tron. He was telling me afterwards that he could see when I dropped on the second climb in that second race, and he said, mate, you just had to hang on for another minute and you would have been fine. And I was with the front group for all that time up until that I got dropped. And so I kind of knew that, hey, I had to just dig deep for 2 minutes just to stay with that front group over the second climb, and see how I went. So I was really interested to see how much harder the discs may have made it, given that they're not, you know, they're not the lightest wheels going around, but they are more aero. So Zwifty was saying that he definitely prefers on these kinds of climbs, the more aero the better. Lightweight wheels, fine for, you know, if you're a lightweight rider, but and if you're doing climbing, you know, like the Epic Com, Alp Zwift, those types of things. But he was basically saying that on these short drags, aero is the way to go. The more aero, the better. And look, I think that's probably that's the case. We'll see here shortly, though, as we're going around the roundabout. And I think on the second video, the first and second video, I've started the north climb, and I'm just coming up to it on the third video. So the 23rd, I've started closing the gap from the 21st. I'm only, you know, probably less than about 100 meters, but I'm still sort of, you know, 300 meters behind on the third race. And you know, the power's reasonably the same in all of them. Heart rate's still significantly lower on the third race than it was in the first two, which again was pretty interesting. I felt fresher on that race coming into this climb than I did on the other two. And you can see on that first one, sorry, I got something in my throat there. On the 21st, you know, I really felt like I was struggling. You know, there's points there, there's little punchy pinches that where I just felt like, man, someone's put the brakes on. But on the second one with the Envy wheels, yeah, much easier. And the third, still easy, but certainly the heart rate isn't reflecting that. Alright, so we're about halfway into the climbs, and it's just a series of hairpins. Hairpins, so you come around that second last hairpin, and then you got a little 360 thing, and then the banner's just after that. Yeah, so again you can see race 1 and race 2, heart rate's almost the same, a bit lighter on race 3. Now interesting, because on race 3 there was a couple of spots here where I felt I could have gone a bit harder. Like if the other guys wanted to try and, you know, do something, I think I could have gone with them. So I think it's just here on the 25th, on the third race, where I pushed to the front unintentionally. That wasn't my intention, and it was at that point where I thought, well, yeah, maybe I could actually do something here. But thought better of it and just dialed it back a little bit. Save those watts, treat them like gold, spin them like gold, and yeah, and come around. So I was happy for AB that's in the front, and we had a couple of other light riders in this little group here we've got. So happy to let them show me the way up. Okay, so you can see on race 1 and race 2, I'm pretty much, I've caught myself. But on race 1, I'm in the 24th position. On race 2, that's the front packer just in front of me there, which I'm just hanging on to. I'm in sort of 8th position there, 8th, 9th. And on race 3, on the front pack and sitting sort of in 1st, 2nd. So the banner's coming up. We'll hit that first in the middle race there. There it is. So fire the aero. I think I pick up another aero, which I was happy to use again. Okay, I've gone through the banner now on the first race, and still probably 100 meters off on the third. So heart rate still the lowest out of all 3 races. And there goes the zip. Oh, got to. Yep. It's interesting that I unzipped my top just then, as opposed to the other ones. Okay, so there's the times for the northbound Sgurr. So on the 23rd, didn't 4:08. On the 25th, 5 seconds later with the discs. And of course the 21st was like, you know, with the climbing wheels, and that was just, yeah, so much different. Okay, so we're hitting the downhills here. And it'll be interesting to watch how my heart rates differ. So in race 2 here, I'm actually in front now. Heart rate's dipping down to 164. Still pretty high in the first race, so it's still 170. And then it's starting to come back down on the race 3. So I think there's about 6 of us in the group in the third race. And then there's a few riders back, maybe 15-20 seconds. Alright, so through that banner, where are we now? We're 11.4 kilometers into this. Still got maybe another 20 minutes. So now I'm thinking in this third race, I just want to sit with this group. Hopefully we'll have enough pace here to fend off anyone else that's trying to bridge across. And I think one of the guys, you can see in that map in the top right hand corner there on the third race, there's one person that does bridge across from the group behind us. So I think we end up being six or seven, something like that. So I'm happy to sit on the back, be very lazy. I mean, what do you do? I mean, who else does that? You know, if you got like a handicap race like the Chop, which we typically do on Thursday nights, although I haven't done it this year yet. Yeah, happy to put in turns because you're trying to win as a group. And on the ZRL series as well, happy to, you know, commit and do certain segments and try and help the team because it's more of a team, or it's a team-based race. Your team has to get the most points, and so if you can help a teammate get points, then great. But in these general classification ones, no, it's it's sit at the back and do the least amount possible and win. All right, so maybe there's 300 meters difference now between race 1 and race 3. Certainly, you know, I'm not catching up to my second race, so I'm still 500 meters behind between second and third. So at this point I'm thinking, yeah, I don't know if the discs have really helped me that much. And maybe what the best way to tackle this particular race is for an all-rounder. So maybe a Tron or a Scott Addict with Envy wheels or a similar set of wheels. So a good all-round bike is probably the best option for racing in either the City de Sgurr or in any kind of like the Muckle Yin, or in the ZRL series that's coming up. I think it's semi-final 2, where we've got a timed race on City and Sgurr. We've got 45 minutes of just going backwards and forwards and trying to get as much distance as possible. So definitely I think an all-round bike is going to be the best option there. If I was going to do another race, the same race again today. This is the 26th, with the Tron, to see if that would be any better than the race on the 23rd. Because admittedly, I'm not racing an aero bike here. I'm racing a S-Works Atheos, so which is typically a lightweight climbing bike. So it kind of feels like a bit of a contrast between a lightweight frame and disc wheels or aero wheels. But maybe, you know, that's what makes it a good all-rounder. Lightweight, fast, and for these climbs which aren't spectacularly, you know, difficult climbs, you can, you know, it's a better option. Anyway, so we're ticking over 14Ks here. We've got another 8 or 9. And yeah, so definitely race 2 that I'm in the front. I'm still, I've just ticked over 14Ks on the 25th. So we aren't picking up speed there. We're not closing any gap there. And it's really race 1 where there's going to be some bridging of some times. All right. I'm loving that little head bob. Boop, 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 boop. The little dance. Okay, so you can see in race 2 there, coming through the arch. I'm about 200 metres behind in the first race and about 300 metres behind in the third. But happy with the third. I'm, you know, Still got a lower heart rate than the other two races. Just kicking along, trying to, you know, conserve as much effort and power as possible. So I'm just, look, I'm probably maybe 10 seconds behind between third race and first race. And I don't think I closed that gap until maybe Glasgow, but you know, I'd bombed by then. In the first race, man, I just bombed. Got dropped midway through the first climb, semi-dropped again on the second climb, and then trying to stick with the group that I was with, and then about 2.5, 3 Ks left, I was done. So definitely a climbing frame and wheels is not the way to go. But even with on the 23rd having the you know, aero wheels, I know the Envy 7.8s are pretty aero. I still got done on the second climb, which you'll see in a moment. So I was really wanting to stay with this front group in the third race, and I knew that I had, you know, 2 solid minutes of effort, and I think we hit the climb around the 29-minute mark, so it's only a few more minutes. So yeah, again, I'm sort of trailing race 1 and race 3. There's a gap of maybe 10 seconds, and you see it now. I'm coming through the arch on the race 1, and I'm about to hit the arch on race 2. There it is there. So not far away, and we've still got the same, you know, 4 or 5 guys, or six riders in that third race. So yeah, definitely, you know, feeling way more comfortable in the third race than I think I was at this time in either of the first 2. Now again, I think that's probably more to do with the group that I was in. You know, it was a slower race. We certainly weren't smacking it, and I think if it had been a bigger group, we could have probably, we would have been doing a faster time, and it would have been very comparable. But you know, you do what you do. You get what you get, and you don't get upset. All right, so yeah, I'm still, you know, trailing. It's about 10-15 seconds difference between race 1 and race 3. Probably 30 seconds difference between race 2 and race 3. So I'm just hanging back here, just knowing that we're going to be hitting the second climb. And look, this is the great thing about racing this over and over and over again, is now you kind of know all the landmarks. You know when the when the climb starts. You know how long the climb's going to be for. So it's like this south side. It's a 900 meter, bit of a 900 meter climb. It's about 2 minutes 10 seconds. So you know how much effort you're going to have to put in, and you just watch the clock. So you know as soon as it starts, you go, okay, it's going to be 10 minutes or 2 minutes. Keep on it. Don't stop until you hit that 2 minute, and then you know you're over it. Whereas when you sort of first start, you know, racing these races, you just don't know how long it is. It's like, oh man. And I don't know about anyone else, but when you're climbing and you're in pain, not knowing how long the pain's going to last for is, for me, is a bit of a deal breaker. I kind of just go, oh fuck it, I'm just going to give it up. So coming through the arch there in the second race, yeah, I'm probably 20-30 seconds behind in the first, and probably that again in the third. And so it's becoming clear to me that, yeah, the all-rounder, the second race was the better race of the 3. You know, it was more evenly paced, I think. And having John having John there as well, you know, having a little bit of competition always helps, I think. Okay, so yeah, still about 300 meters difference between 2 and 3. Heart rate's about the same now. So just kicking up that little kick there, coming past the pens. And I know that the south side climb is going to be starting very, very soon. Alright, through the banner, fired the aero, and hopefully I was hoping to pick up a featherweight in the third race, and got another aero. So we've got two featherweights and an aero coming into the third climb. So the third climb's started, in race 2 it started. In race 3 it's, well, in race 1 it's about to start, and race 3 as well. So again, just trying to stay with that front pack. I know I just want to hang on for the 2 minutes. And yeah, I think it's, I must have missed the marker, but yeah, it started. So it's 900 meters. Interestingly, that's about the same length as the ZwiftCon. Which is the reverse? Is that the one from the volcano side, or is that the one from the Beach Boulevard side? But it's about the same, not as steep. So I'm looking at the time there, 29:40. I know I've got another minute and a half to sit in, and I've already sort of, yeah, you can sort of see I've been dropped in the middle race, but I'm still feeling like I can hold the front grip here on the third race. So putting a bit of a dig in. So I'm at the 18.5 mark. I must only be about 10 or so seconds behind the first race. Coming around the second last hairpin. I'm going to keep that aero until we hit the top, I think. Unless I chicken out and I bail and I fire it off now. Alright, so the front's still there, still hanging on. Really want to stick with these guys for that second climb in the third race. I don't want to let them go. I don't want to get dropped. And you can see in the middle race there, the 23rd. I'm coming up to the banner now. So not far for the third race or the first. So I think I'm only a few seconds behind race 1 and race 3. I've hit the descent, I've hit the aero on race 3 there. And so yeah, so you can see there on the 25th I got the best time, so that's with the discs. I don't know, maybe because it was a slower group, but yeah, it's a hard one. I mean, I think it's more group based than it is wheel based. Alright, so we're descending. I'm about even, or probably about 2 or 3 seconds behind race 3, behind race 1. But again, I'm not standing up. I'm not, really pushing it. The power's pretty reasonable, but I'm trying to using those discs as much as possible and coast as far as I can, hoping to super tuck. And I kind of got a couple of super tucks, but not a lot. And I think it's that gravel dirt section that sort of holds that up. We've got one guy off the front in race 3 who's trying to make a bit of a break for it, and I'm just knowing that we're going to pick him back up. There's still a bit of time left. All right, so where are we? I'm sitting, still sitting in that front group. There's about 4 or 5 of us in that front group in the race 3. In race 2, I'm sitting back at 10th now, and then in race 1, I'm sitting at 24th. Okay, so there's only bit over 3Ks left. And I'm starting to think in the third race, hey, I might be able to make a go of this. Now there is another guy with discs I've just noticed in race 3. So we've got three trons, 2 discs, and whatever that other guy's got. So coming back around the roundabout. Now we're heading back into Glasgow. And yeah, some race 2 and race 3, 200 meters, maybe less, 100 and something meters, 150, 160 meters difference. So not doing badly there. And again, I think it would probably have been different if the group had been a bit bigger. So in race 2, I'm trying to stay with the group I'm in now. But I feel like I'm struggling. Like, yeah, you can see it in the heart rates there, 178 versus 173. So we're back into Glasgow. I know that we've got about 2.5 Ks, if I can see that. So I think I've just looking at race 1 and race 3. I'm probably just in front now on race 3. Going under that overpass. But I know in race 3 though I'm struggling. Over race 1 I'm struggling. I know that I'm just, yeah, there we go. Getting dropped now. So it really comes down to between race 2 and 3. And I'm still in the front there, so I feel like there's going to be, it's going to get a little bit spicy. Alright, so I think we've got about, what is that? Is that 2 Ks? The reason why I'm sort of going, oh, what is it? I can't see it. Because I'm in sort of a preview window here while I record this. And it's not that big. And when you sort of resize all the windows down, it makes seeing the distance that's left a bit harder. Alright, so I've got a featherweight, but I know we're going to go through another banner. So I think I hit the featherweight now in race 3. Yep. The start of that little crit com. I want to be with this front guys coming over the top of this. And that's exactly where I am. We've got one guy going off the front there. And the blue tron's trying to bridge him just to try and make something of it. Heart race now to 180. I don't want to let these guys go. I know where this is going to go, and I want to stay in touch with the front, but I don't want to be on the front. Again, for the races I have commentated on, I'm very much a proponent of sort of sitting that 4th, 5th wheel back, and when you do smack it, you kind of come over the top of everyone else, and by the time I realise what's happened, and I see you come past, it's usually too late. But I am feeling it here though on race 3 by now. You know, heart rate's touching up 179, 180. And we've got about 1.1 now. I kept reminding myself of Hutto's race where he did this, and he stomped it just after that last little punch, which is about the 500 meter mark. But my legs, man, I just didn't have it in me. So I'm nervous and I'm anxious coming in with that little right-hander. We're going to come up. We've got that little buckle in the road. So looking at race 3 here, that little buckle in the road here. We sort of swing out left and back around right. And we've still got one rider in the pink tron now. He's at the front there. We hit this little pump. And I was telling myself, I should go here, but I don't go here. And maybe if I had have, it could have been a different outcome. So Yellow Tron is now pushing it. He wants to lead this one out, and so I'm happy to let him go and see if we can pick him up. And then coming around, so I've got about 300 meters here. I'm up in the drops, and I've learnt to pick up that power, because I hadn't been doing this. Pick up the power first and then hit the aero, which is what I did. Unfortunately, that other rider came around me and ended up coming third. So happy with that. 18th, I think, in the first race, 7th in the second race, and 3rd in the third race. So overall, the second race was the fastest. And we'll see those times in a minute. But yeah, I think the second race was probably the better of all three. So that tells me that yeah, the all-round bike is probably the best option for that kind of a course. In my case, it was the S-Works Atheos with the Envy SES 7.8 wheels. But I mean, look, there's going to be variations of that same kind of a configuration that you can use, whatever you prefer that you think is, you like. Yeah, so we can see in the times there, 37:12 on the 23rd, 37:28, so 16 seconds later on the 25th, and a minute over my first from the third to the first to the second. So it was interesting looking at the Swift power, 2.9 watts per kilo for all three races. The 20 minutes were the same. The 5 minutes slightly better in the second race. In the 1 minute, and I'm assuming that's because I put more effort into the sprint. So the 1 minute, the 30 seconds, and the 15 seconds for the 25th race were higher. Lower average heart rate overall, but maybe again that was the group that I was in. So I hope you enjoyed the race analysis, and I'll catch the next race.